Is the housing market correcting? Dun, dun, dun. If you're following the news, all of the headlines about conditions in the current housing market may leave you with more questions than answers. Is the boom over? Is the market crashing or correcting? Here's what you really need to know. The housing market is moderating compared to the last 2 years. But what everyone needs to remember is that the past 2 years were record breaking in nearly every way. I'm talking low mortgage rates, millennials reaching peak home buying years, which led to influx of buyer demand. On top of that, there just weren't enough homes available to purchase. So this combination led to a record high demand and a record low supply. So this wasn't going to be, sustainable forever. The latest data shows early signs of a shift back to the market pace seen the years leading up to the pandemic. So the showing index tracks the traffic of home showings according to the agents and brokers. It's a good indication of buyer demand. So here's what it looks like at the data going back to 2019. The 2019 numbers give a good baseline of pre-pandemic demand. As the graph indicates, home showings rocketed during the pandemic, and while current buyer demand has begun to moderate slightly based on the latest data, showings are still above 2019 levels. Since 2019 was such a strong year, for the housing market, this really helps show that the market isn't crashing. It's just a turning point that's moving back towards more pre-pandemic levels. Headlines are also talking about how existing home sales are declining, but perspective matters. Here's a look at existing home sales going all the way back to 2019 using data from the NAR, National Association of Realtors. Once again, you can see a similar story. The pandemic numbers beat the more typical year of 2019 home sales. And according to the latest projections for 2022, the market is on pace to close this year with more home sales than 2019 as well. Keep in mind, the 2019 housing market was the strongest housing market in a decade at that time. Bottom line, if recent headlines are generating any concerns, look at the more typical year for perspective. The current market isn't a crash or correction. It's just a turning point toward more typical pre-pandemic levels. Let's connect if you have any questions about our local market and what it means for you when you buy or sell this year.